You did? Then you must be quite a big shot, eh? By the way, Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. I'm almost certain that I've seen you somewhere before. Or am I just imagining things? You look very much like a prosecutor I met once. I believe you're imagining things, Your Honor. Yep. It could be just an illusion of the mind. Ms. Wokarma, do you have anything to say? There is no such weakling as this man among those of the prosecutor's office. However... Hi, Freddy! With his mage persona. Doubly annoyance. Not my lucky day. I'll crush him this time. There isn't? But I'm sure once before in this group... I told you, there is no such weakling. What is that? A whip? I'm not sure I care for such a thing in my court. I'm not sure about you caring that you don't care, or... Wait, hold on a second. Bailiff, remove that whip, and... Hold it! I have no objection to the whip. Yeah, it is part of our charm. You don't? The prosecution can wield a whip or drink 17 cups of coffee. But there's still only one truth. That is what I stand here to prove today. This promises to be interesting, Miles Edgeworth. I had expected to face Phoenix Wright here today. But looking at you now, maybe this is what I have been waiting for all this time. Miles Edgeworth, I will not allow this chance to crush you slip from my fingers. Yep, let the battle begin! I see you brought your flair for the histrionic. Allow me to add to the things I'm not sure about. People acting bizarrely in my court. Magic! Is anyone even listening? The stage is set. Now, continue with the proceedings, Your Honor. Very well, Ms. Wokarma. Please give an outline of this case. With as little whipping as possible. No promises there. The murder victim is the famed picture book author, Miss Elise Donham. Her body was found in the Asakura Temple courtyard. She had been stabbed through the torso by a ceremonial sword from a golden statue. Huh? The sword in this picture is a weapon in question, correct? Very well. The court accepts this photo into currency. Crime photo. The courtyard where Elise Donham was murdered. There is no mistake. This was the doing of Sister Iris. You see this. Well, this is interesting. Apparently the body was found exactly where the sword is being held by the statue. Almost as if the statue itself was the one that murdered Elise right there. But since that is clearly not the case, that it makes me question what this means. I wonder about that. After all, there is a witness to her crime. Very well. Please bring this witness to the stand. And so it begins. My first and last trial as a defense attorney. Witness, state your name and occupation, please. Hold on there. I'm not sure about being not sure if I care for this at all. Or are you not sure, like at all, about not being sure? Because you seem to be pretty sure about not being sure about you being sure about this. That you truly care about this, even if you seem that you don't. Witness, please stand up nice and straight. If I recall correctly, there are a few milk crates in the defendant's lobby for our back pain plagued witness. Jesus. Stealthy comment there. Bailiff, fetch a crate for this poor lady, please. There you go. Once again, your name and occupation, please.
Little old me?
Oh, I'm the head nun of Hazakura Temple on Eagle Mountain. My name is Bikini. You got it? Bikini. Nice to meet everyone.
But you don't appear to be wearing a bikini right now. Judge! You perverted old man! How can you say that? She's a nun, for Pete's sake.
The courtroom is the garden of holy judgment. Those with lechery in their hearts should leave the sanctuary at once.
You want me to leave?
No need to get your bikinis and twist. Let me tell you, I'm a sight to behold in summer.
In any case, witness, I heard that you saw the crime take place on the night in question.
That's right. I can still hardly believe it myself, to be honest. There's no way their little Iris could do anything like that.
Let us hear what you have to say. First, tell us about your own movements that night. Yeah. The night of the murder.
That night I was helping an acolyte with our training in the inner temple. But, well, as you can see, my back likes to act up. Violently. So, I left Iris to help the acolytes, and returned to the Hazakura temple. There's no bath at the inner temple, you see, and I needed to take a long, hot soak. It was after I had finished, just as I was heading back. That's when I saw it.
So it was simply coincidence that you found yourself returning to Hazakura Temple?
Yes, you could say that. If my back hadn't been in so much pain, I would have stayed at the inner temple.
Uh-oh. You know what this means, folks? Time for the little book of witchcraft! Here it comes to save the day. Let's see. Yeah. Well, you can use crystals. Like, for example, the quartz. It can be a powerful catalyst in wish spells. And aids healing both of physical and emotional imbalances. Physical which include back pains as well. And thus, problem solved. What do we have to thank for?
Magic.
That sounds like a pretty important statement you just made. And I admit, that's pretty good information.
There's only one problem with this testimony that I can't see. And you're not about to fall at the first hello now, are you, Miles Edgeworth?
Miss Edgeworth, please begin your cross-examination. Alright, then. Let's get to it.
That night, I was helping an acolyte with our training in the inner temple. But...
Hold it!
What is this inner temple?
well, see, conversing with the spirits is what we train people to do, right?
We'll be the ones asking you the questions, madam.
In order to do that, a place strong in spiritual power is required. There's a small temple across Dusky Bridge, called the Inner Temple. Acolytes must spend an entire night there to undergo intense training.
And how exactly do you help with this process?
It is all quite exactly. It cannot be performed without a nun supervising. Like a tutor, watching to make sure a spoiled child studies.
A tutor with a whip, in your case. If that is the case, then why did you return to Hazakura Temple, where the murder took place?
Well, as you can see, my back likes to act up. Violently.
Hold it!
Violently?
That's right. It's no laughing matter, especially in winter. I cannot hold anything heavier than a knife and fork during the cold months. Just being alive is like strict training.
On the night of the murder, was this fabulous back of yours hurting again?
That's right. Raging like a bull in a pig pen. I almost fainted once or twice. I just knew that unless I warmed it up, I was going to finally finish me off. So I left Iris to help the acolyte, and returned to the Hazakura Temple.
Hold it!
You left Iris to help? With what?
What do you think? The acolyte's training, of course. It was just past 10 PM, so we were starting to enter into training exercises proper.
Wasn't it your place to remain with the disciple?
Now, the job is simply to watch over the acolytes so that they don't pass away.
And just to confirm this point again that night. You met Iris in the inner temple, correct?
Yes, yes. She's a gentle, honest girl.
Oh, maybe she is, but I don't know about you, Sister Bikini. If you're lying, I'll set your pants on fire. Or skirt.
She's never once failed to follow my directions. There's no bath at the inner temple, you see, and I need a long hot soap.
Hold it!
But yeah, that is the contradiction there. Saying that Iris was at the inner temple, but yeah. We also have like the evidence to the contrary as well. So you return to the Asakura temple in order to take a bath.
My back is to blame for everything. It's a do or be done kind of world, after all.
How long were you in the bath for, if you don't mind me asking?
My. What a filthy little rug you are. I know what's on your mind. I bet your next question is going to be, where exactly did you wash? Ah, this is why you have to watch the young ones.
But what are you going on about?
Pathetic, Miles Edgeworth.
Shame. Shame. The lowest of the low. Is there some sort of kick-me sign stuck to the defense's bench? Nah, but there sure is a curse put on each defense attorney that makes them more vulnerable to attacks like that. It just happens. And I mean it. It happens. It's not like I'm the one at fault there.
Anyway, I couldn't afford to be away from my post for too long. You understand, so... It was after I had finished, just as I was heading back. And that's when I saw it.
Hold it!
The crime took place in the courtyard, correct?
When you go from my room to the main hall, you have to take a winding hallway from which you can see the courtyard. That's right. In other words, it was pure coincidence as a witness saw the crime taking place before her eyes. There was no complicated setup in this case.
That certainly seems to be true. There is indeed only one problem with this testimony. If I can clearly point it out what it is, then I can begin to quantify just how good this witness' memory and observation skills are. Alright, well, as I said, the contradiction is pretty clear. Iris said that she didn't go to the inner temple. I mean, we do have her testimony over here. And yet Bikini said that she did. She did say in her testimony. What evidence should we use? Definitely not Iris' testimony, but Iris' hood. Received before the lights out bell the night of the crime. Protects from evil spirits. That is clear evidence that we should definitely use.
Objection!
This evidence clearly reveals the contradiction in that statement, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm afraid I cannot accept that. Well done, Your Honor. What? Nani? I was only testing you just now. Thanks? Well, then why did you try testing this penalty too? Yeah. Looks like I shouldn't have spoken in haste. Alright. I guess so. I was pretty sure about Iris' hood, but I guess so. The only thing that we can go with is Iris' testimony. I have my doubts, but... might as well.
Objection!
Witnesses have to undergo their own trials, I'm afraid. The defendant's fate rests on their power of observation and memory, after all.
Well. Don't worry. I'm more than up to the task. I'm a woman of faith, after all. The head honcho of Asakura Temple.
In that case, Miss Honcho, I'd like you to explain something for me. The discrepancy between your testimony and that of the defendant, Iris. She claims that after ringing the lights out bell, she went back and stayed in her room. Which means she did not go to the inner temple at all.
No! She said that?
A defendant or a witness? Who is more likely to lie, do you suppose? The defendant is simply lying to cover her back.
Objection!
But that is completely illogical. The murder was committed in the courtyard of Hazakura Temple. Claiming that she went to the inner temple would make for a much better alibi. Yeah, so no matter how you whip it, it is not right. Unless Iris had magical teleporting powers.
But that is odd. Whatever the reason, I cannot believe that she would lie.
She does indeed have honest eyes.
All people lie. That is my belief.
Well, that is a harsh thing to say. It's like you don't trust anyone. I think that you are under stress, Franny. How about I show you my first magic spell? Aww, pooh! Bunny pictures! Today's magic show theme is bunnies. One for you, one for Edgeworth, one for Bikini, and one for the Canadian judge. Bunny pictures for everyone!
It is remarkably cute. I mean, are we done here?
Why am I the only one being whipped in here? Anyway, neither the witness nor the defendant have any reason to lie. Which means, we must call your memory into question.
Dear, dear, dear. You're older than me and yet you want to play that game, do you?
Well, that isn't exactly what I...
My memory is perfect. Crystal clear. Especially in winter.
Then I suppose it's too early to end this cross-examination. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, if you are going to question the memory of this witness, you will need to show me a more decisive piece of evidence. Honestly, Your Honor, it was naive to think that alone would do the trick. Then please add your comments about Iris to the testimony. And let us return to the cross-examination.
Okay. That night you were helping.
Iris came to the inner temple. She was dressed exactly as she had been at dinner, you say. Yeah. The first statement has been updated with this. You're saying that she was dressed exactly as she had been at dinner. I mean, one could definitely say that she didn't really have the hood when we had that dinner. Like after the dinner, when we talked to Iris, she no longer was wearing that hood with her. In fact, she gave it to Phoenix. But that's a stupid thought to even think about it. It is that she had the staff with her all along. How can you say that she was dressed just exactly at the dinner if she had the staff with her?
Objection!
That statement contradicts the data provided by this piece of evidence. It does? How do you mean? Forgive me, Your Honor, but you just said it yourself that it does. Don't try to play mind games with me. Curses. It appears I have yet to adjust to being on this side of the courtroom. Yeah, you better adjust, Edgeworth. You better adjust to that, the curse of the defense attorney. Alright, well, I guess so. Which means we're gonna have to go with plan B. Ugh. It's really poopy.
Objection!
Witness, let's get one thing straight. The defendant whom you claim to have met, she was wearing this demon warding hood, correct?
Of course. That is a very important piece of clothing. I'll have you know. Wait a minute.
Objection!
Hold it right there. Why do you have that?
That's the question of the day now, isn't it, Miss Von Karma? I have you know that this hood was given to someone as a gift that night, before the lights out bell was rung.
What?
You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If the witness had seen the defendant as she claims, then the Iris she saw should have been missing this very hood.
Well.
Yeah, but you go, Edgeworth. It's not a bad feeling at all. Exposed to contradictions like this. I understand that happy look on Wright's face every time he does it. Yeah. Now you know. Now you had the power of objection on the defense attorney's side. You, Edgeworth.
Sister, this hood, you have spare ones around the temple, don't you?
Yeah, before I get interrupted here, I'm saying you will have your own game in no time, Edgeworth.
Spares? Well, I do tend to make too many of them.
I see. A stockpile. A surplus of hood, eh?
Each nun is only given one hood. This should be the only hood that I own.
Then this is quite strange.
If there was a surplus of hoods, then she could have worn one of those. There is no contradiction here.
And that's a good point. I mean, even if she had just one, she could have just gone to where that stockpile of hoods was. I mean, I don't know where it is, but Iris would definitely know. Sorry to break this to you, Miss Von Karma, but you won't get away that easily. Discrepancies such as this will sow seeds in any human heart. The seed of doubt. Ooh. Poetic! Witness. Well, I don't wish to call your testimony into doubt. You must give every detail with precision.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable going along with this. Sister, you shall continue with your testimony. Tell us what you saw after finishing your bath, on your way back to Inner Temple.
Those seeds of doubt are sprouting in the judge's heart. They just need a little more stimulation to bear fruit. Contradictory stimulation. Alrighty then. Next, cross-examination. After your bath. Oh my.
I finished my bath around 11, and I thought I should return to the Inner Temple. And as I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtroom yard. I took a look and... Iris was... Oh, Mystic Elise! And with that sword of all things... Mystic Elise was staying in the corner room, which faces out onto the courtyard. The stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window.
You saw a truly terrible sight, didn't you? I wondered about that. What was the autopsy report? Cause loss of blood from stabbing back. Body fell 10 feet after death. If I was in your place, it would be much like Miss Von Karma whipping Mr. Edgeworth in two in court. And me saying it all from this very chair. I'm not being whipped whatsoever. Well, something like that. This judge. His imagination is about as vivid and creative as Dr. Ganshu.
I would look the fool if I commented on such foolishness. Anyway, this case is mine, Miles Edgeworth.
Calling everyone by their full name. Can't you do something about that habit of yours? Yeah. Wait, you're saying that she should work on that kind of habit? How about the habit that she calls fools? Fools, like 5 times. Fools.
I finished my bath around 11, and I thought I should return to the Inner Temple.
Hold it!
How far is it from your room to the Inner Temple?
Let me think a moment. About 20 minutes, on these stumps of mine. It's about 15 minutes to take a bridge from Hazakura Temple. The Inner Temple is just beyond the bridge. Still, you never made it back there that night, did you? That's right. I was heading along the walkway toward the main hall. And as I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look and...
Hold it!
You say you heard a noise?
Thump! Just like that. That could only be the sound of the victim falling. It's very quiet in the temple, you know. You can even hear the snow falling from the branches. Thump. Just like that.
But then, can this noise, this thump you heard, have been snow falling to the ground then?
I never thought of that.
Ho 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 ho. Whirr!
The next one to laugh gets a whipping. Well, whatever the source of the sound, I looked over at the courtyard then. Iris was... Oh, Mystic Elise. With that sword of all things.
Hold it!
And this is the second time that the witness has testified to seeing the defendant. But some doubt remains in these claims.
Hey, just what does that mean? Just because you're a good-looking young man doesn't give you the right to...
Nah, hold on a second. I'm gonna stop you right there. He is a good-looking man. He is a good-looking young man, and he does have the right to whatever he wants at this point in time. The murderer who stabbed the victim with a sword. Sister Bikini, try to recall exactly who it was you saw, as clearly as you can.
Wow, you're a handsome young man. And a dominant one. So I'll forgive you. Oh, nothing to mention it. There was something awfully strange about her.
Well, tell us.
Something that has been bugging me all this time.
Please, don't keep us in suspense.
Her hood.
Her hood? Didn't we talk about this before?
That's right. It's coming back to me. Iris, she wasn't wearing her hood. I thought something was out of place, but it all makes sense now, doesn't it?
It sure does. Speaking of missing hood and discrepancies and such, did you notice something else regarding the head area of Iris? Something around her hair or something like that? Something that has to do with her hair?
After all, she'd given that hood away to someone, right? Ha! You've dug your own grave, Miles Edgeworth.
What do you say, Mr. Edgeworth? Is this testimony important? Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Let's say that it's important. This may initially appear to put me at a disadvantage, but I cannot see any other leads at the moment. Your Honor, I would like these new statements to be added to the testimony.
Miles Edgeworth. If you want to hang yourself, you need only to ask. I'll gladly lend you my whip.
Oof. That's the harshest thing that he has said until now, Franny. How dare you! Witness, add that statement to your testimony.
No problemo. Now that I mention it, Iris didn't have her hood on.
Hold it!
You are sure about that?
Yes, after all, we always wear the same clothes. I don't mean because we're poor girls now, understand? It's our style. Yeah, that's it.
There's absolutely no need to explain yourself.
Anyway, she looked different from normal, so that really stuck out.
How so? I mean, besides the missing hoods, did you notice anything else strange?
Like me holding a vipid puppy instead of my whip.
Vipid puppy? At least then it might bite you and not someone else.
Iris didn't have her hood on, I'm sure of it.
Very well. Now, please tell us about the victim. Can't say that that's really helping me that much.
Hold it!
The room the victim was staying in overlooked the courtyard, correct? Which means the victim's room was on the second floor.
No. Hazakaya Temple is a single-story building, but the mountain itself slopes down. which elevates the main gate inside the temple and the guest rooms in the back to about the height of a two-story building.
I see. And the victim was staying in one of those elevated rooms, correct?
Yes, I should know. I'm the one who carried her things to her room, after all. The stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window.
Hold it!
Yeah, I think I found something here. What makes you so sure of all this?
It's just like I told you earlier. I heard a noise from the courtyard, okay? Dumb. Just like that. You're one smart sister, I'll give you that. The autopsy report states that the victim's blood was covered in bruises, indicating a fall from around 10 feet in height.
It appears that the witness was not mistaken then. Maybe she should read that autopsy report a little better.
Yep, I'm more than just a pretty face, especially in winter. I'm a woman of faith, after all. The head honcho has a current temple.
There's only 2 of them working there.
What's wrong, Miles Edgeworth? No snappy comeback remark?
Oh, he's thinking of one. He's thinking. Because usually when he has a snarky remark, he gives the best ones. It doesn't feel like she is lying. This is very important. This is very powerful testimony too. She claims to have seen the instant in which the defendant stabbed the victim. There are only 2 things I cannot believe in right now. My client hours, and my own abilities as a defense attorney. Well, you do have to believe in yourself, Edgeworth. As a new defense attorney. And all that. But okay, I think I actually got it. I think I actually know the reason why there is a contradiction over here. It's because the sword, the Shichishito, became real and stabbed Elise, like, by itself.
Objection!
That statement contradicts the data provided by this piece of evidence. It does? How do you mean? Forgive me, once again, this curse of the defense attorney is just bringing me down, sir. Curse of the defense attorney? I think I've heard of that before. No wonder most of the defense attorneys are becoming stupid in the court. Don't try to play mind games with me. Alright. Curses! It makes me want to bark! Okay. So, yeah, let's go with the Elise's autopsy report over here. It says that the cause of death is loss of blood from stab in the back. The body fell 10 feet after death. So that would mean that she got stabbed and died, and then fell. However, here Bikini is talking about Elise falling and then getting stabbed and such, which is definitely not correct.
Objection!
Impressive logic. That's what I like to say anyway.
Oh, please do. My brain is something else, especially in winter.
However, I think you're overlooking one thing.